Thank you so much. Woo, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. You know, the words of that song is about seeing beauty and abundance everywhere, regardless of what's happening. That's kind of our teaching in a nutshell. Not to have our head in the sand, but to see what is actually present, even when the appearance looks otherwise. It's a very great power and makes all the difference in life. This month, we're talking about spiritual mind treatment, which is 21st century prayer. I call it the evolution of prayer. I'm drawing my inspiration from an old book, Treat Yourself to Life, by one of the greatest teachers we ever had, Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, who was the minister in New York for many, many years. And today is about treat yourself to wealth. Now, last month we talked about what's love got to do with it. What's love got to do with money, with health, with wealth, with freedom? And so this month we're talking about how to use our mind, how to use treatment to bring about shifts in our perception of those things, which gives us a new experience of them. Because I wrote this Friday, I'm just going to read a little bit of it. If we get all of our information on how to make our lives better from the world of accepted thought, we would get the impression that we have to fight for it. While someone else loses, we have to best the competition or beat the market. And there's a strong underlying belief in the lack of things out there. We are subtly trained to grasp what we can, call it our share, and then find ways to get more. The belief in lack is the cause of most of our problems as a people and as individuals. So Raymond Charles Barker, the author of the book, said, and this is a really great thing to remember, I believe in prosperity as a spiritual system because it frees you to do other things. Isn't that true? It frees you to do other things. He said, if you can do what you want to do right now, you are prosperous. If you can go to the theater and have dinner out afterwards, you are as rich as a billionaire. Well, that's one way to look at it. And it's a good way to look at it. But unfortunately, a lot of people believe that having enough money to do the things we want to do corrupts us. I remember when I first started in this teaching in 1975, and I heard about these principles, I and I was really wallowing in self-imposed poverty, even though I was working and had 2 or 3 jobs at one time. I never had enough money, but I came into this teaching and started hearing these principles about how you could prosper and how you can generate more and you can live at a higher level. And I was not raised in religion, so this came from somewhere else. But I actually had the idea, it occurred to me, that if I were suddenly wealthy, I would probably just be languishing on yachts drinking champagne. And I would not follow my spiritual path. I actually had that thought. And it might have been true at that point in my life. It might have been very tempting. It might still be, no. Okay, so today, I want to talk about money. We talk about prosperity and abundance and flow and enoughness and sufficiency, and that's all good. We need to think that way. But we don't want to slip into what the world slips into, which is a fear of money. Money corrupts, they say. It only corrupts if you're corruptible, right? Money's not the power. Money is an effect. The power is circulation. That's the flow that we talk about, but circulation is different. Circulation implies that we have to participate in it, doesn't it? We circulate our good. We circulate our money. And so we don't want to allow ourselves to fall into a belief in lack when we're spending money. We want to circulate money with a sense of, I always have enough to spare and to share. You might want to say that out loud. I always have enough to spare and to share. If we believe in lack, we will not participate in the law of circulation, and we will continue to experience not enough. Anybody relate to not enough? A lot of people think there's not enough time. There's not enough opportunity. There's not enough love. There's not enough of everything. This is a common belief in the world. So in this teaching, we often succumb to a more subtle version of money is evil. And we want to shift that today. So I want to talk specifically about money, and I want us to be surprised at how uncomfortable we might feel. Or not surprised, or not uncomfortable. But most people are. Did you grow up in a family where you weren't allowed to talk about money? About you never asked your father how much money he made? Is that just the 50s? Because it was verboten, right? We didn't talk about money. And it was a subtle superstition. Okay, so some people think the mention of money has no place in a spiritual setting. Remember Reverend Ike on TV back in the 70s? He just was always talking about prosperity and money, and he got a really bad rap for it. But a lot of people shifted their money consciousness because of him. A lot of people became wealthy in a very natural, spiritual way because of Reverend Ike. So it does have its place in our teaching for sure. Money's one way we have of accounting for the exchange of energy and activity, how we are expressing ourselves, and how, in his teaching, how we are expressing our real self. How are we showing up? How are we circulating our good? Money is an accounting system. That's all it is. It's just, I told you the story about being in Canada and the money looked like play money to me. It's just paper and metal, right? In and of itself. It's a symbol of activity and movement. So this series is about spiritual mind treatment, which is the evolution of prayer. 21st century spirituality does not seek intervention from a man in the sky. We know that what the world calls God is the presence of intelligence in us. So, ancient scripture says we're made in the image and likeness of Spirit, of God. In our teaching, we see this as both a principle and a presence, the presence we feel in ourselves. Can you feel your own aliveness right now? Yeah, you can feel the energy in your body, right? If you take a breath, and that's the presence. And of course, it's present throughout the universe, this aliveness. You know, scientists are now saying that the universe is conscious, which is a pretty interesting thing to play with in your mind. And that it is pure intelligence and absolute love, and it's a perfectly right combination to produce everything out of itself. Well, so do we. We are conscious beings, and we are conscious because we come from consciousness, not some void. We come from some intelligence that knows itself, that is conscious of being, that is aware of itself, not as a person, but as aliveness, as a beingness. It's something to play with in your mind, to expand. We want to keep expanding our view, our image of what we think the source of life is. It's very important that we don't get too stuck in the old model or stuck at all in the old model. We keep moving our mind out. So spiritual mind treatment was devised by Ernest Holmes as a way of aligning our local mind with the non-local intelligence, a way of straightening out our thinking, if you will. Because he says the answer is in us all the time. The word is in us, let there be. And we're saying let there be by how we circulate things. We're giving the universe permission to multiply what we're circulating all the time. Even if we're circulating negativity, it'll multiply it. You know how to make things worse, don't you? Yeah, I do. Just get real negative. Just start saying things to people. Well, that'll never work. I don't believe that. Who do they think they are? Blah, blah, blah. It'll make everything worse. So Holmes said, there's a way to use your mind in a very logical, sequential way to make things better. And make them better instantly, because the shift happens in us first. We feel differently about something, and we begin to act differently about it, and things begin to change. So we're going to learn today how to treat about money. Now, notice I didn't say treat for money, but about it. Spiritual mind treatment is to change our mind. One of the things that Holmes said when he was writing his book in the 20s or 30s. He said, we're not here to change God's mind. We're here to change our mind, because we are the ones who are projecting our inner life into the outer world. So the prayer is in the one praying, if you want to put it that way. Okay, so we give our mind a treatment of spiritual truth about money. We are needing to up-level our thinking about money. Anybody here not interested in money? Raise your hand if you are. Are you interested in money? It's a good thing. Think what the things you can do with it, right? Oh my gosh, a long list of things you can do for other people, for the world, for yourself. Okay. I want you to say some things out loud and notice if you feel uncomfortable. Money is good.
Money is good.
Money is a spiritual idea.
Money is a spiritual idea.
Money is my friend.
Money is my friend.
Money is God in action.
Money is God in action.
Well, there you get tripped up by, what do you mean by God? Right? We mean life. Money is a symbol of circulation and movement, and we're using it to facilitate our expression in the world. If we can get to the point where we realize it's something to use, that's all. It's not a sign of our self-worth or not. It's not a comment on who we are. It's just a facilitating energy that we use to move ourselves around the planet with ease and effortlessness. And we've created a culture that says that's what you need to do. Of course, we all know that abundance and prosperity comes to us in other ways as well. But don't leave money out of the equation, okay? Because sometimes we're going to need some. I love this. Raymond Charles Barker said, he was very quick and cut to the chase kind of person. He says, if you think money is evil, then why work for it? Why ask for a promotion? Why use it? Why not go live with some kind relatives and you need not bother with it at all? Right? If money's so awful, then you don't get any. And then you'll be saintly. Not true. I've said this before, and I keep reminding myself of this. The love of money is not the root of all evil. The belief in lack is the root of all evil. The not enough to go around syndrome is the source of problems in our world. So our purpose here is to establish a pattern of money love in our subconscious mind. There was a couple of great books in the 70s, and they were little guys, and I think I gave mine away, which I'm always sorry I do that later, right? One was called Money Love, and one was called Money is My Friend. They were really excellent books for poking at the subconscious patterns that we don't even know we have. And I think it was Money Love, he said, I believe his name was Jerry Gillis, Gilles. He said, if you want to be wealthy, you must learn to love your parents. I just was blown away by that. And here's why. He said what people do when they're holding resentment against their parents, or they're saying their parents caused me to be, he says, you are failing to get even. It's a double play. You're failing to get even, and you're failing to get even. In other words, if you hadn't damaged me so much, I'd be much better off today. It's your fault that I don't have any money, or that I don't have this or that or whatever. It's your fault. Failing to get, doesn't that make sense? So he says, let your parents go and learn to love them spiritually. Not everybody had parents they can love through as a personality. Some of them are difficult, right? They're just people. But love them spiritually and know that they did the best they could according to what they knew. If they had known something better, they would have done it better, right? Isn't that true of you too? Yeah. If you knew better, you would have done it better, right? So I thought that was genius. Learn to love your parents, let them go, and realize anything that has been holding you back may be rooted in some of that stuff that you're failing to get even. The other one was Money is My Friend. And in his little book, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I read it, but it was about using it consciously. And he suggested that no matter how much money you have, put some of it in this bank and some of it in that bank and some of it in that bank and have a purpose for each one. Like this is for entertainment, this is for going to Hawaii, this is for a new car. And it's just a way to be conscious. Be really conscious of where your money is. When you open your wallet, is it neat? Are the big ones and then the smaller ones lined up, or is it all stuffed in there, right? It's an indication of whether we value it or not. So it's just little things, little games to play with your mind to change patterns. That's the purpose. It's to change a pattern in the subconscious. The pattern in the subconscious may be saying on some subtle level, money's corruptible, money's not good, I shouldn't want more money, that kind of thing. Or there's not enough to go around. How many of us believe that? Probably nobody in this room, really, but we have. We know what that means, don't we? The belief that there's not enough to go around of anything. Okay, so talk to yourself. Tell yourself the spiritual truth. Say this out loud. Money is spirit in action.
Money is spirit in action.
Through me. Through me. I always have plenty of money.
I always have plenty of money.
To spare and to share.
To spare and to share.
I love what money can do. So establishing a subconscious pattern is important because it's at that level of consciousness that produces the effects in our personal experience. The subconscious mind is the servant of the conscious mind, not the other way around. This is stuff we talk about in class. It's very important. It's a huge distinction from what the world believes. The subconscious mind is the servant of the conscious mind, which means if the conscious mind has a new thought, the subconscious mind will take it in and act accordingly. And how does it act? It prompts us into action. It prompts us to repeat. It stores information we might need. And if we have given it some information that's important to us, like money's evil, it'll cause us to act as if that were so, and the opposite. So if we've given it information that money's a spiritual idea, money is the symbol of God in action, money is a way to facilitate a better world, money is a joy to have and to circulate, those are new patterns. And then we act accordingly. It's very interesting how you can change your own mind with the conscious mind. And you don't have to know where you got all those old ideas necessarily, but we do have to have a new thought. And this is why this teaching is called New Thought. A new thought changes lives. All right, so a subconscious pattern of lack will cause us to see lack even when we're in the midst of abundance. You know people like that, right? They never see the fullness. They always see what's missing, right? There's always something missing. There's not enough of this here. There's not enough of that here. Those people are living in lack. They're not focusing on what is present, what is abundantly supplied, what is here right now. So a subconscious pattern of lack is very common, not unusual, nothing to beat ourselves up for, but it's definitely susceptible to change. Because abundance, opulence, sufficiency is the truth. That's the nature of the universe. Try to count the grains of sand on the beach. Or try to count all the insects, the ants in the yard. Or all the colors. Try to count anything. One time when I first went to a Silomar, which was our big retreat back in the day, and I was that young woman with 2 kids and no money. And I was at a Silomar in Pacific Grove. And I started trying to name all the shades of green that I saw. I couldn't do it. There were just thousands of different subtle shades of green. And it made me realize what Holmes was talking about when he said there's so much abundance on this planet. And if we start seeing it, we'll realize it's a part of us. It's there for us. And money's no different. It's just another way of facilitating circulation. All right, so the world suffers from there's not enough to go around. The world suffers as a cause, and it begins to come into society, culture. We begin to behave as if there's not enough to go around, politically, in every way. And we start trying to grasp things because there's not enough to go around. It's the source of war. And most conflicts is somebody trying to get something they think is missing, right? Makes sense to me. All right, so a wealthy person in the true sense of the word is someone who loves being alive. Say that out loud. I love being alive.
I love being alive.
I love myself.
I love myself.
I see beauty everywhere.
I see beauty everywhere.
I love the magnificence of diversity.
I love the magnificence of diversity.
I cherish the small moments.
I cherish the small moments.
I work to make a positive difference in the world.
I work to make a
That's the only reason to have a job, right? So, at the same time, a wealthy person does not place money in some lockbox, either figuratively or literally. A wealthy person uses money to facilitate their vision. And we have to ask ourselves, do I have a vision for my own life? Everybody should have a vision. Something that pulls us forward. You know, Michael Beckwith always says, you're either pushed by pain or you're pulled by a vision. Being pushed by pain is not fun. Being pulled by a vision is, because it keeps us expanding our mind and moving forward and trying new things and entertaining new ideas and meeting new people. It's all part of that, of expanding our experience in the world. So part of that vision has got to be how we feel about money. So I'm going to say some more things that I would love to hear you say out loud. My money opens doors for me.
My money opens doors for me.
My money is my friend.
My money is my friend.
My money is unused energy.
My money is unused energy.
I unlock its potential
I unlock its potential
by circulating it freely.
by circulating it freely.
I am in love with my life.
I am in love with my life.
I am a very wealthy being.
I am a very wealthy being.
So ladies, say this. I am a very wealthy woman.
I am a very wealthy woman.
Gentlemen, I am a very wealthy man.
I'm a very wealthy man.
And that's the truth. So I want to take us into a meditation, spiritual mind treatment, just about this. And this is how we do it. I'm going to really go through the steps. And anybody can learn this, and you learn it really great if you come to class. So we start at the top. Always start at the top. We never start with the problem. We act and speak as though it doesn't exist. That's advice from Ernest Holmes. All right, so let's close our eyes. It's easier to hear it. We recognize that this universe is lavishly and relentlessly pouring itself into visibility all the time. That this universe is the visible evidence of an incredible intelligence and an absolute love. We recognize that although we may not know fully just what it is, that there is something behind everything, and it's very good. It produces beauty and order and harmony. It produces music and color and all of nature. We recognize that as everything moves from the invisible to the visible and looks separate, it is actually one something pretending to be different. And knowing this, we realize that we cannot be separate from it. It's not possible to be separate from it. It is being us. It is the source of our breath. It is beating our heart. It opens our eyes every morning. It is how we get inspiration, ideas. They come from that field of boundlessness, boundless possibility. Everything begins there. We call it the source. And it is an inexhaustible wellspring, a reservoir, a vault, if you will, of sufficiency. overflowing abundance. The universe never runs out of anything. It just keeps making more and circulating more. It is a dance, as the Hindus say, a play of consciousness, the dance of Leela, constantly replicating itself, moving itself into new forms through the field of a receptive consciousness. And so we declare for ourselves, I am that receptive consciousness. I receive the impulse of spirit to live on a higher level, to circulate more prosperity into this world, touching the lives of many people. I believe I am wealthy. I believe I am the receiver of ideas, inspiration, opportunity, gifts, windfalls, every possible avenue for the generation of greater wealth belongs with this life that I am living. No person is destined to live in lack. It is a false belief. It is a lie. And it is a great error in human thinking. And so today we just make it real in our mind. Money is good. Spirit is good. Abundance is good. Prosperity is good. I am good. And I am wise, and I know what to do with my money to bring about a greater good all the time. I know where to let it go. I know how to circulate it. I know what to support. I am gentle with it. I appreciate it. I care for it. And I give it away. I let it move away from me and circulate around the world, and I know it always comes back to me, pressed down, overflowing, multiplied in many, many, many ways that I could never predict. And as Raymond Charles Barker would always say in his treatments, the pattern of lack in my subconscious mind is now obliterated forever. It is gone, never to return, for in its place there is an awareness as there is enough of everything for everybody constantly. Never-ending supply, lavish and relentless spirit pouring itself into the field of consciousness that I am, that we are. We are a wealthy people. So today we put it all together, that money is included in abundance, in opulence, in flow, in effortless expression. It's just a part of it, not separate. It's not a separate thing from love and affluence. It's a part of it. So we accept it deeply, and we accept ourselves as the great givers that our hearts want to be. Great givers, appreciative receivers, constantly in the flow, in the dance. And the whole world is our partner. So we leave here today with a heightened sense of just what is possible to a mind that loves itself, to a mind that knows what the world calls God is right here within, to a mind that knows there's no end to the good that we can generate, to a mind that sees beauty everywhere. And we leave here today convinced that our wealth is an ongoing experience, never-ending, overflowing all the time. With great gratitude for that truth, this place, each other, this teaching, we say, yes, it is done, and so it is. You believe it? Yes. I do.